good afternoon, everyone. I'm Aerosol from Nibiaa. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to help the small and medium packaged food industry basically have a traceability for them and compete with the big brands like the Nestle's, right? So what is the problem we are trying to solve? Many of the small and medium enterprises, because of lack of technology adoption, poor communication and many paperwork involvement, and the processes which are involved, whether it be the food production, the processing, distribution or retail, there's a lot of loss happening at every step of the supply chain. So we need to help them in increasing the processes, and also information regarding the traceability, where the exact food is coming from. So due to this, there's a lot of safety and quality or product issue, storage and warehousing, and lack of traceability. So what we have come up with is a smart model by which we're using technologies such as IoT, blockchain, AI, and AR to basically provide the traceability component. So our solution comprises of three different layers. The first layer being the physical data layer, where we're using IoT technology to get the data from the ground, whether it be the farms or the processing unit or distribution center. The data that is collected is basically analyzed using our logical data layer, which is building a model in order to be able to provide AI-based models for smart decision making. And finally, we have a smart blockchain layer, which basically captures every transactions that happens all the way from the farmer to the crop buyer and finally to the customers, providing a seamless integration of food traceability and process improvement. Some of the tools that we're using in order to make this solution happen is, for example, we're using for IoT, the Helium network, which is the world's largest continuous IoT network, which basically has around 1 million nodes across the globe. We're using Hyperledger Fabric for building private blockchain, Akasa's application for hosting the application, and Dollar data for monetizing on the data. So why it is very important to use a distributed model is kind of data security and data safety for these brands, that they have the ownership and they provide data to whichever people they need. So finally, the final vision for our solution is that, like when somebody goes to the supermarket and scans a QR code on a package, you can get information regarding the farm, example, the farmer name, the verifiable information of the farm, organic certification, soil testing report, factory and processing data, conditions, all the food safety certifications which are there, shipping detail, even storage condition information right from the package itself. So it's a huge market opportunity. Right now we are working in India. There are about 50,000 brands in India which are small, comes under small and medium enterprises. Globally, there are around 400,000 brands which are mostly working on their native or local geographies, but have not been able to go on the global scale because of not being able to compete with the big players. And we wanted to help them by onboarding on our brand, on our platform. The business model that we are looking at is more of a SaaS model, and it comprises of things like managing the IoT devices for every branch. There will be also an AI-based data provision for the importer and exporter who would be interested in finding out what kind of data they provide each and every brand is, and the brand basically drives down its own ecosystem to get those data. There is also a mining component in our solution, and also some customization for the AR-based products that we're building. This is our leadership team. Myself, I come with around 15 years of management consulting experience working for a Big Four. My co-founder is my father. He has biotech, 42 years of agriculture research experience. We have two other co-founders, both from New Jersey. Sushil has around 25 years of technology, and Dinesh come with 25 years of sales and marketing experience. So far, we have basically raised around $100,000 just on grants, government grants, and through competitions. We are also one of the finalists for building our AR-based solution under the Facebook Meta scheme, top 20 finalists, not been listed here. What we are seeking for is a partnership to grow in Southeast Asia market and to raise around 250,000 as seed money to take our solution to the next level.
My first question is, who is your customers, and what would be the incremental cost to them by using your product?
Yeah, the main customer we are targeting is the small and medium food packaging brands, for whom, because of less technology adoption and they have not been able to improve their processes, we are trying to basically build a distributed way of data storage. So most of it will be even in the sensors data that we collect and also the blockchain they are using, they are going to be distributed. So the incremental costs would be on the initial implementation part and making sure that in the downward supply chain, they make sure that every member who is supplying all the way from the farmer, they have a stake in it and they provide those data that they are seeking for. So that is kind of the model that we are looking at.
And what would be the incremental benefit to them from the customer side?
So first thing is it will be based on brand awareness. They would be able to provide more information about how they are sourcing, the sustainable way of doing practices, whatever they're doing. And the other things would be like nowadays people are more concerned about like what kind of raw materials or what kind of food they are consuming. So these brands will actually have more loyal customers to them because they are very, very transparent and traceable about the food produced and all the processes they are following, all the certifications they have, and they wanted to give this data to the end customer. So that's how we are feeling the brands will have an improvement in that. And these are small and medium enterprises who do not have much of a budget to provide or invest on technology. So we are building it as a model so that any company can go in. Right now we are doing pilots for tea in India. We are trying to help them differentiate, especially the Darjeeling tea, as a premium product compared with other tea brands.
Why the hell blockchain? I mean, if I look at your three layers, the first layer is an IoT device that spouts out data. The second layer is a database that you grab all the IoT data in, and then you put it on the blockchain to get some coin currencies.
Yes.
Did I understand that right?
Correct.
Okay, so the real part of the traceability is not really the blockchain.
Blockchain is the part of the traceability. Why? Because when you take like a simple apple juice, right? There are many components to the apple juice that comes from. The apple is just one example, but there is sweetening agent. There is other chemicals put into it. In order to trace back to all those things, yes, we require.
That's why I asked the question, where is the blockchain? You said the third part.
Yes.
What you're now explaining is it's in the second part, where it comes all together in a database, correct?
Yeah, it comes as the entire solution as one package. So collecting the data from the source and basically putting it through the process.
So I think there are a lot of similar kinds of solutions out there in the market. So how are you different from there? And how are you going to beat them?
So one of the things that we are differentiating ourselves is with terms of the distributed way and the data ownership. Most of the current companies are trying to aggregate the data themselves, but with our distributor model, it's the brands who have the ownership of the data and the capability to tell what kind of data they provide to their exporter and importer, their supplier, or even to the end customers. So which differentiate us to be more of a distributed model in terms of how we build our application. And we are building it as a way, kind of a model which can be replicated across multiple crops and multiple packages of food industry. That's how we are differentiating ourselves.
I think on the IoT device itself, maybe you can explain a bit more what kind of IoT devices you use and how seamless is the data collection process?
Yes, so as I mentioned, we are using Helium Network, which is the world's largest LoRaWAN network provider. They have close to 1 million nodes across the globe, which is basically put in a blockchain. So what that makes sure is whatever sensor data they do collect from multiple sensors, whether it be soil quality checking or environmental sensor or in the processing unit, the air quality, that data is being confirmed and put inside the blockchain and making sure there is authenticity of data, that nobody cannot manipulate with this data they are collecting from these sensors. So that also adds an extra layer of security and making sure that the data is secure even if it's sensors data. So the helium network is what we are leveraging to get those sensor data from the ground. And it uses LoRaWAN, a long-range wide area network technology, to enable that.